All right, Jay, we're taking a look at your swings here. First thing I notice is that you seem like a really good athlete. You have a lot of explosion. There's a lot of motion in the beginning of your swing here. You see how you drop the hands down, take a big leg kick, which is great, but it's hard to time that out on live hitting. You take a nice stride forward. The big thing is watch your motion coming forward here. Now you're moving, your head is moving forward. You are getting rotation, and that's probably a ball that you hit pretty good, but you're kind of leaning, not forward, but you're coming and attacking the ball forward instead of staying back and rotating up through. Here we go again. Your front foot's about to come down, so this is your connected position. You can see the bat's up in the air. You have to reroute that a little bit. Right here, watch your head. Your head's moving forward, forward, forward. Your body's moving forward. There should be no movement there. It should be all rotation. Now right here, now your head and body's not moving anymore. Look at, you're moving forward. Now you stop moving forward and you rotate. But you're sucking power out of your swing when you're doing that. It needs to be right here. It has to be 100% rotation coming through. And then your snap, with the wrists, we need to snap the wrist sideways on a straight line through the ball, which you did pretty good there, but the main thing we wanted to look at there was the rotation. So right here, your body should not move forward anymore. Look at, you can see it come and move forward. So, but let's look at the wrists here on the bat path. Look at that, way up over the top. You didn't power the wrists through the ball on a straight line. Now, you may be trying to lift that ball up in the air too much, or you're just not swinging through on a straight line. Well, look at there. It looks like you're trying to lift that up in the air to me. And in live hitting, it's going to be even worse. You're never going to get through it. Right here, look at that knob. It's way up above the ball. You should be, that should go through on a straight line. It should not come up in the air. You know, if you got to pretend like there's a pane of glass right above the ball, covering the top of the ball, and you shouldn't break that pane of glass, you know, with the bat head. You should be able to swing underneath the pane of glass right here. Bat head is dropping down. Look here, the knob of your bat is pointing way up above the ball. And now you need to try to level it off. From here, it should go straight through the ball, but instead, look at it comes up over the top. And if you're snapping your wrists, look at there. It's almost like your top hand is falling off of the bat too. If you're snapping your wrist, you're not powering your top hand, your right arm, or your right hand through, it doesn't look like. Kind of looks like you're just pulling around with your left arm, which is good to an extent. You know, pulling around gives good power, but you're not snapping your wrist and finishing through, especially with the top hand. Once again, a lot of motion here. This is another swing. I like how you come forward. You take a nice stride and your body comes forward. But right here it should be 100% rotation. But look at your body and your head moving forward. Now you continue to rotate. Look at right there. That's a straight line. So I mean, on this swing, I don't know what you changed on it, if you're thinking of doing that, or if it just, you know, comes and goes. You did swing through on a straight line like that. Another thing is you got to get a G tee, my man. I mean, that tee keeps falling down. But yeah, I used to have one of those too and had the same issue. Coming through here, your snap, look at, you're snapping your wrist sideways, and then boom, continuing through on a straight line. There's full extension. That's a pretty darn good position right there. Now on live hitting, you know, this is a ball that's about chest high or higher. That's fine. When you get a ball that's a little bit lower, you're going to tend to want to lift up and golf on those instead of, you know, swinging more level or down through them. It's something where hitting off the tee here, you can hit a ball like that over and over and over, but when you get to, and it feels like you're kind of swinging up through, but on live hitting, it's going to feel more like you're swinging down through the ball. Let me know if that makes sense to you, or if you've seen that in our videos. Once again, look, just a ton of body movement forward there. And then here you put two things together. The body moving forward, not staying back and rotating through, and you tried to lift it up. And right here, watch your head and your body. You should be just rotating and staying back. I mean, you're moving forward 1, 2, 3 frames. Now you're starting to rotate around. The snap is coming through pretty good here, but then right at the end, I don't know if you're trying to crank your wrists over there, over the top, and that's what's making the bat head go up. Or if you are just not powering them through on a straight line and you're just trying to lift up in the air too much. You need to get much more of a level, almost a slightly down mental focus to get yourself to level the swing off more. Once again, a lot of motion here. I mean, that's great if you can do that off live hitting, but that's tough to do. Rather have you start in more of a position where you don't have to have so much motion. Right here, I can see you moving forward with it. Let's see how the snap comes through. You're snapping your wrist. That's a good position there, but then look at the end. I think you're trying to manipulate those wrists. You're trying to take that, the top hand and the bottom hand and kind of flip them over top of each other instead of sideways snapping like you were swinging an axe into a tree. If you were hitting a tree with an axe there, you would have rotated the axe head where you would hit it with the side of the metal instead of burying the axe into the tree, if that makes sense to you. Once again here, moving forward towards the ball. There's another one that looks pretty good on the line, and I don't know if you're just, you didn't flip your wrists over there, you just kind of snapped them sideways all the way through. So that's a pretty good looking bat path. If it's a lower pitch, that's not going to fly. I'd like to see you even practice with some belly button high pitches off the tee so you get more of a feel of swinging down through the ball. Here you go. This is coming around. You're snapping your wrists through all the way to full extension. I mean, I work hard to try to get guys into that position, and you're getting there. It just looks like maybe you have trouble consistently doing it. And then you're losing a lot of power and consistency by not staying back. And just once that front foot lands in your swing, it has to be 100% rotation. There can't be any movement forward with the head or the body. Take a look at my swing here. Once again, look at my position. Not much motion with the hands. Right here, there's my connected position. The front foot is down, the hands are back. It's just straight back and straight through. Look at my head. In my body, it's back and rotating. That's where I get all my rotational power. You're moving forward on that, and maybe you just do that off the tee and not off live hitting. But I would tend to say that your tee swing is going to be pretty close to your live swing. We'll take a shorter look at this. Just look at my rotation here. Forget about the bat. So once the front foot is about to land, I'm starting my rotation right now. Watch my head. There, the foot has landed. Watch my head and my body. My head is not moving at all, and my body is just I'm staying back and rotating. Look at my head actually moves back a little bit because I'm so I desperately do not want to lunge ever since I was younger with my swing, so I actually kind of move back a little bit. You get great rotation at that one point in your swing, and you have a lot of explosiveness. You get weight transfer off the back foot. You get all the good stuff there, and you have a great finish just like anyone else. You don't stop your rotation, but you're either not triggering it soon enough, or you're just not saying to yourself, right at this position here, I got to stay back and rotate and drive the ball up in the air. Now, what we don't want to do then, since we're trying to drive the ball up in the air with our body, is lift the ball up in the air. So here, I'm not continuing to lift with my right hand up over the top of the ball. Look at, right after impact, boom. That looks like it's almost going down through, but it's actually on a straight line. That's just because my body angle's back so much. Through on a straight line there, that's even more of an aggressive angle, even on those balls that you hit well off the tee. You were leaned back and kind of, swinging up at however many degrees it is higher than I just swung here. Much more of a level to cut swing you need to try to develop. Here's Jeff Hall taking a swing here. We'll take a look at, the frames again. Watch his head and his body right here. His front foot's down. No motion forward at all. It's just 100% rotation. And then look at his finish. Look at that. If there was a pane of glass about, neck high on him, flat across the screen, he would have swung right underneath it until there, at the end. But he would have swung right underneath it and not broke it. Now his connected position here, that bat's way up in the air. He has to reroute it a lot more. You and me are in better positions there, but look at, he gets it right here. Now he's in the same position as us, but watch, instead of you pulling up over the top, he's Look at his wrists there. His wrists are snapping sideways through, just like he was burying an axe into a tree. He's not trying to flip those wrists over or manipulate them over the top. He's sideways snapping them through, and he's probably thinking, you know, slightly up from level, either level or slightly down, because he's, you know, the ball's up in the air right now, so he's actually anticipating where the ball is, so he has to swing down to a point below the ball. He's not trying to lift that ball up and then boom, look it right through. He's cutting down through that ball. He's not, you know, and then look at his body angle, how great that is back. And you know, you don't have that issue, but it's more of, you know, your rotation doesn't start quick enough. You have that little motion where you kind of come forward. Here's Robbo. We'll take a look at his swing here. He's got a great radical cut swing. Front foot's about to land. Now look at his head. It actually does move a tiny bit forward, but look out, but what he makes up for it by this. Right here at impact, he actually angles back. Look at, he started pretty vertical, and now at the end of the swing, he's way angled back. That left leg is angled back, and then he actually finishes, you know, kind of leaning backwards. It's because that you have to think right when that front foot's about to land, like here, you're pulling your hands back, that front foot's about to land, and then now right here, in your personal swing, you just have to think, I'm going to stay back and rotate, stay back and drive that ball up in the air. Right here, you can see he moves forward a tiny bit, but right here, he's rotating, and then at impact, he's pretty vertical, but then right afterwards, you can see that he's almost throwing himself backwards to kind of make up for the position that he's in at the beginning. So, you know, not the best thing to try to emulate, but you can see how he compensates for that initial kind of motion forward or being a little bit more vertical than some guys. And then he finishes, you know, with a great rotational finish. Now we'll take a look at his bat path, which is just a really not so much radical, but it is a downward swing towards the ball. Look at, here's his connected position. His hands are back. He's rotating, and then he's snapping his wrists right from here. His left and right wrist are snapping just like you're burying an axe into the tree. You know, if there was a blade on that bat, he would have sliced right into the ball. And he didn't try to flip those over. He continues with the blade of the axe just going around, and then eventually the wrist just, you know, they just turn sideways, and eventually, yeah, they do roll over just because they can't go any farther. But don't try to flip them over the top of each other. Here's Ryan Harvey. He's got a, you know, high-level baseball background, so he really has a lot of, you know, this position here I'm not wild of. Look how much he has to reroute the bat to get into the good position. So here he's in that position, and then boom, look at it again, you know, on a straight line right through there. And his rotation we'll take a look at in the next frame, but this is just a quick motion of, you can see he's really hitting, he's almost hitting down through that ball and finishing high, which we'd rather be a little bit more level. But right here, hands are back, his front foot's down. Now watch his head and his body. When he's starting his rotation, his head is not moving at all. Just his left shoulder is pulling back. His hips are rotating, just like yours. You get good rotation of the hips. But look at that head. I mean, his head is just absolutely still, and he's rotating around. He's staying back, rotating, and trying to just rotate as hard as he can and explosively as he can to drive that ball up in the air and get all the, you know, not even thinking about driving the ball up in the air, but just that's where all your power comes from. You know, the mainstay of your power is your rotation with your body, and then the second level of power comes from the bat speed. So here's his connected position here. Look at that bat's way up in the air. You know, you don't want to have to reroute the bat like this unless you're a pro level, high level hitter that can do that, because it takes a lot of timing. Right here is about the position where you get into, which is good. Snapping the wrist sideways. Imagine that there's a blade on that axe. Boom, he's cutting it right here. You flip that right wrist up over the top. He continues sideways through it. Now they're starting to roll over, and look at, he doesn't release that top hand until about right there, or a little before there. It looks like you're just kind of, you know, look at the difference of the swings. It looks like you're kind of pulling around with your left arm only, and he's powering through with both. Take a look at Frank Henry here. He has a great technical swing, especially since there's not a lot of motion. I mean, look at his hands. He's taking a nice stride like you do, but his hands are back. Here's the connected position. Look at not much rerouting that he has to do. He just pulls around, just like you, pulls with the lead arm, but then boom, that top arm, his right arm powers through and gets out to full extension. I think you're missing a lot with that right arm and that right hand. You have to, like you're cracking a bullwhip or like you are casting a fishing pole. Here we go, watch when his front foot's about to land. Here's his connected position, which is awesome position. Similar to yours, but look at his head and his body. Not moving at all. He's just rotating. Linear part of the swing is over. He's just rotating around to his left. And look at his right foot, way off the ground because, don't try to do that, but that's just a result of how much rotation he's getting and power that he's getting in an explosive rotation, which you do well at that point in your swing once you stop moving forward. It's great. It doesn't mean that you want to cut your stride down or cut the pre-swing. You want to let yourself come forward just like you're a pitcher on the mound or you're going to throw a ball. But once that front foot lands, you don't want to lunge towards or move yourself towards the ball. You want to just rotate. So great connected position here. His hands are back. Now look at, barely has to reroute the bat. Now he's starting to snap his wrist as he rotates. Pulling around with the left wrist and then boom, he's powering through. Look how he powers through with that right wrist all the way out to full extension. He's not, not on a straight line through too. Not letting go of the right wrist, too soon. And he's not trying to lift that ball up in the air. Your body angle being back and your rotation, that's what's going to dictate where the ball goes. It's going to drive it up in the air. So you do not want to lift at all. You want to swing, level or slightly down mentally so that you cut through it. So take a look at these swings here. I think there's only two things you got to work on: that rotation and that snap. And everything else, you got a great start to your swing, but just got to work on those few things. Thank you.